Welcome to Mr. Bedtime Reader, your trusted place to close your eyes, relax your mind, and let powerful stories reshape your tomorrow. Tonight, we're diving into a book that could change the way you see money forever. So settle in, let your breathing slow, and let me take you on a journey through ideas that will work quietly in your mind, even while you sleep. Chapter 1: Why School Never Taught You This. I grew up believing school had all the answers. If you studied hard, got good grades, and played by the rules, you would make it. Teachers and parents told me that making it meant landing a secure job, buying a house, and working until you could afford to stop. It was a neat little formula. Good grades, good job, right arrow, good life. And for a while I believed it. But here's the thing no one in school told me. That formula doesn't guarantee freedom, it often guarantees dependence. Dependence on a paycheck, dependence on a boss, dependence on an economic system you don't control. The education gap. One day, I was talking to Wealth Builder, one of my two key mentors. He asked me, "How much did you learn in school about taxes, debt, or investing?" I thought for a moment and realized the answer was nothing. Sure, I could solve quadratic equations and explain the water cycle, but no one had ever taught me how to make money outside a job. Keep more of what I earned. Use money to make more money. Wealth Builder leaned back in his chair, smiled, and said, "That's not an accident. Schools are designed to create employees, not owners." The hidden curriculum. School taught me to memorize facts and follow instructions. That's useful if you want to be a great employee. It's not as useful if you want to be a great entrepreneur or investor. Security Seeker, my other mentor, reinforced this system. He believed in stability, in playing it safe. His advice was always, get a good job, keep your head down, don't take risks. It's not bad advice if your goal is comfort. But Wealth Builder showed me that comfort often comes at the expense of freedom. Two classmates, two futures. I remember two guys from my senior year. Both got straight A's. Both went to college. But 10 years later, they couldn't have been more different. Mark had a high-paying corporate job. He drove a nice car, lived in a big house, and posted vacation pictures on Instagram. What you didn't see were the credit card bills, the mortgage payments, and the constant fear of losing his job. Eli, on the other hand, never had a fancy title. He started a small online business during college, reinvested his profits, and learned to invest in rental properties. By the time we hit our early 30s, Eli's income from assets covered his expenses. He didn't need a job. Same school, same grades, different financial education. Why it matters? The problem isn't that school is bad, the problem is that school is incomplete. It teaches you how to earn money, but not how to keep it or grow it. And in today's economy, with layoffs, automation, and global competition, financial ignorance isn't just risky, it's dangerous. This book isn't about replacing traditional education. It's about filling the gaps it leaves behind. If you want true security, you can't just learn to work for money. You have to learn to make money work for you. Key takeaway. School may give you a degree, but financial education gives you freedom, and you're about to get the crash course no one ever put in the curriculum. Now entering in Chapter 2, The Myth of the Safe Job. For most of my life, I believed a steady paycheck was the safest thing in the world. It's what my parents told me, it's what my teachers told me, and it's what nearly everyone around me seemed to believe. Get a good job, right arrow, earn a stable income, right arrow, you're set for life. It sounded so logical. If you work hard, show up on time, and keep your head down, you'll never have to worry about money, right? Except it's not true. And the sooner you understand why, the sooner you can build real security. The illusion of stability. I remember when Security Seeker, my cautious, play-it-safe mentor, said to me, "A job is the most reliable way to make a living." And then, just a few months later, his own company went through massive layoffs. He had been with them for nearly 15 years, he was loyal, he was dependable, but none of that mattered when the numbers on a spreadsheet told upper management they needed to cut costs. That's when it hit me. A job can end anytime, and it's usually not your choice. Why jobs feel safer than they are? Jobs feel safe because the income is predictable, at least for now. You get the same paycheck every 2 weeks and you can plan your bills around it. But that's not safety, that's dependency. When all your income comes from one source, you're one decision away from losing it all. If your boss, your industry, or the economy shifts, your safe job might vanish overnight. Wealth Builder once told me, the riskiest thing you can do is depend on one person or one company for your livelihood. The modern reality. In today's world, entire industries can disappear in a decade, sometimes faster. Automation replaces roles that once required human workers. Global competition moves jobs across borders. Economic downturns lead to mass layoffs. If you think it won't happen to you because you're good at your job, remember, job cuts aren't personal, they're financial decisions. Mark and Eli revisited. Let's go back to my two friends. Mark, the high-salary corporate guy, was let go when his department was downsized. His expenses were so high that within months he was dipping into savings. His so-called safe job left him vulnerable. Eli, on the other hand, wasn't dependent on any one employer. He had multiple income streams, online sales, rental income, and a small portfolio of dividend stocks. Even if one stream slowed down, the others kept flowing. His income was flexible. His life was stable. True safety comes from control. The real safe job isn't a job at all, it's a situation where you control your income. That means having assets that work for you, skills you can monetize anywhere, and more than one source of revenue. It's not about quitting your job tomorrow, it's about building a safety net that doesn't rely on a single paycheck. Because security doesn't come from an employer, it comes from independence. Key takeaway. A job can feed you, but ownership can free you. The safest path is to build income streams you control, so no single decision from someone else can take away your livelihood. Chapter 3: Mindset over Money. When I was younger, I thought money problems were solved with more money. If you didn't have enough, the answer was simple: earn more. But the truth is, I've met people who earn a little and live with abundance. And I've met people who earn a lot and still live in constant stress. The difference isn't the amount in their bank account. The difference is the way they think about money. The scarcity trap. Security seeker believed in saving, budgeting, and protecting what he had, which is good, but it came from a place of fear. He always worried there wouldn't be enough. This is called a scarcity mindset. It focuses on limitations. I can't afford it. It's too risky. If I lose money, I'll never get it back. When you think like this, you make safe choices, but you also miss opportunities. You might keep your money safe in a savings account, but inflation quietly eats it away year after year. The abundance shift. Wealth Builder saw things differently. He believed there was always another opportunity, always another way to create value. Instead of saying, I can't afford it, he asked, how can I afford it? Instead of avoiding risk, he learned to manage it. This is the abundance mindset, the belief that money is a tool, not a goal. When you see it this way, you stop holding onto it in fear and start using it to create more. A tale of two choices. A few years ago, both Mark and Eli received a $1,000 tax refund. Mark used his to buy a new TV. It looked great in his living room, but 2 years later it was outdated and worth almost nothing. Eli used his $1,000 to buy a small batch of wholesale products and sell them online. He reinvested the profits, and by the end of the year, that $1,000 had grown into $3,500. Same starting point, different mindsets, very different outcomes. Why mindset comes first. Before you can build wealth, you have to build a way of thinking that supports it. If you're afraid of losing money, you'll avoid the very actions that could grow it. If you believe opportunity is rare, you won't see it even when it's in front of you. Wealth Builder once told me, your bank account is a reflection of your thinking. Change your thinking and the numbers will follow. Practical mindset shifts. Here are 3 changes you can start making today. Ask better questions, replace I can't with how can I. See money as a tool, it's not for hiding, it's for building. Invest in knowledge first, a skill learned today can pay you for decades. Key takeaway. Wealth isn't built in your wallet, it's built in your mind. Shift your thinking and your financial reality will follow. Now Chapter 4 is about assets by freedom. One of the most important lessons Wealth Builder ever taught me was just 5 words. Assets put money in your pocket. It sounds simple, but the moment I truly understood it, my entire financial world shifted. Because here's the truth, most people think they're buying assets when they're actually buying liabilities, and that confusion keeps them stuck. The real definition: an asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That's it, no complicated jargon, no financial wizardry. Wealth Builder explained it with an example. A rental property that brings in $1,000 a month after expenses, asset. A car that costs $500 a month in payments, insurance, and maintenance, liability. Most people collect liabilities thinking they're assets. That big house, it might feel like an investment, but if it costs you money every month and doesn't generate income, it's a liability. The trap of nice things. Mark fell into this trap. As his salary went up, so did his expenses. He bought a bigger house, a newer car, and filled his life with shiny upgrades. On paper, he looked successful. In reality, he was stuck on a treadmill working just to pay for the things he owned. Eli played the game differently. He used his extra income to buy dividend stocks, start a small vending machine business, and acquire a rental property. His assets paid him every month, and that money went into buying more assets. Why assets equal freedom? Assets give you options. When your income comes from things you own instead of hours you work, you gain control over your time. You can choose to work because you want to, not because you have to. And when your living expenses are covered by your assets, you're essentially free from relying on a job, free from living paycheck to paycheck, and free to focus on what truly matters to you. How to start small. You don't need millions to begin building assets. You can start with a small online business, stocks that pay dividends, renting out a spare room, creating a digital product once and selling it forever. The key is to use your money to create something that earns for you, even when you're not actively working. Key takeaway: liabilities drain you, assets free you. The faster you can build assets that pay you every month, the sooner you'll step off the treadmill and into a life you control. Chapter 5 is about the trap of working for money. When I was younger, I thought the smartest thing you could do was chase the highest paycheck possible. If someone offered more money, you took it, end of story. But over time, I noticed something strange. Many people who earned more didn't seem any richer. In fact, some were even more stressed than before. The treadmill effect. Mark was a perfect example. When he landed a big promotion, his income jumped. At first, it felt amazing: more dinners out, more vacations, a nicer car. But soon, his spending rose to match his new income. This is called lifestyle inflation. The more you earn, the more you spend. And once your spending grows, so does your dependence on that income. You can't slow down, you can't take a break, and you definitely can't quit because your bills are sprinting alongside you. Money that works versus money you work for. Wealth Builder explained it this way. Working for money is like carrying water in buckets. You can carry bigger buckets and earn more each trip, but you're still the one doing the carrying. Instead, he said, you should focus on building systems, investments, businesses, and assets that bring in income whether you're working or not. That's like building a pipeline that delivers water to you automatically. Why bigger paychecks do solve the problem. If you don't change the way you handle money, a higher income will only give you bigger problems. Bigger debts. Bigger obligations. Bigger dependence on keeping that job. Security seeker never understood this. He believed that earning more was always the answer, but he stayed in a constant cycle, working harder, earning more, spending more, and still worrying about the future. The breakthrough. The breakthrough comes when you realize that the goal isn't to earn more from work, it's to earn more without work. That doesn't mean you stop working. It means you use the money you earn now to create assets that work for you later. Every dollar you invest in an asset is like hiring a tiny employee who earns for you day and night. Key takeaway. A bigger paycheck doesn't guarantee freedom. In fact, it can trap you even more tightly if you're not building assets. Use your income to buy your freedom, not just a more expensive lifestyle. In Chapter 6, we learning the language of money. Money is a language. If you can't speak it, you'll always be at a disadvantage, just like visiting a foreign country without understanding a single word. And yet, most people never learn it. They hear terms like cash flow, ROI, or equity, and it all sounds complicated, so they ignore it. But ignoring the language of money is like refusing to learn how to read road signs. You can still drive, but you'll get lost, miss opportunities, and make costly mistakes. Why this language is kept quiet. When I asked Wealth Builder why we never learned these concepts in school, he smiled and said, "Because if you don't understand the game, you can only play as a worker, not an owner." Think about it, most people can't read a balance sheet, don't know the difference between revenue and profit, and have no idea how compound interest works. But these are the exact concepts that separate financial independence from financial dependence. The core vocabulary. Here are a few basics everyone needs to master. Cash flow, the movement of money in and out of your life. Positive cash flow means more is coming in than going out. This is what builds wealth. Assets versus liabilities. Assets pay you, liabilities cost you. Simple but game-changing. ROI, return on investment, how much money you make compared to how much you put in. Equity, ownership value in an asset after debts are subtracted. Compound interest, when your money earns money and that money also starts earning. Over time, this snowball effect is incredibly powerful. A tale of two conversations. Mark once told me he was investing in his house. But when I asked about his mortgage, property taxes, and maintenance costs, he realized his house was actually costing him more than it was bringing in. He was speaking the language incorrectly. Eli, on the other hand, could run quick mental calculations on ROI and cash flow before deciding on any investment. He wasn't a math genius, he had just learned the vocabulary and practiced using it until it became second nature. Why you must become fluent. Speaking the language of money lets you spot good opportunities quickly, avoid bad deals before they trap you, negotiate from a position of knowledge. Wealth Builder put it best. The more fluent you are in the language of money, the more control you have over your future. Key takeaway. Money isn't mysterious, it's a language. Learn it, speak it, and you'll unlock opportunities most people never see. Chapter 7 is about risk, the secret ingredient. For most people, the word risk triggers an instant reaction. Fear avoidance, a mental image of losing everything. Security Seeker was like that. His philosophy was simple. If you don't take risks, you can't get hurt. It sounds logical, but it's also the fastest way to guarantee you'll never escape the financial treadmill. The truth about risk. Wealth Builder taught me something different. Risk is the price of admission for freedom. Every meaningful gain in life, whether it's starting a business, investing in real estate, or even changing careers, comes with risk. The difference between the wealthy and everyone else isn't that the wealthy avoid risk, it's that they manage it. Gambling versus calculated risk. There's a big difference between gambling and taking calculated risk. Gambling is putting your money into something you don't understand and hoping for the best. Calculated risk is putting your money into something you've studied, prepared for, and structured to minimize loss. Mark once dumped money into a can't-miss crypto project because a friend swore it was the next big thing. 6 months later, it was worthless. Eli, meanwhile, bought a small apartment building after running the numbers, studying the neighborhood, and negotiating favorable terms. That property still sends him rent checks every month. The risk of doing nothing. Avoiding risk feels safe, but in reality, it's dangerous. When you hide your money in a savings account, inflation eats away at it. When you stay in a job you hate just to feel secure, you miss years of potential growth and freedom. Security Seeker never saw this. He thought standing still was safe. But in the financial world, standing still is actually moving backward. How to manage risk. Here's what Wealth Builder taught me. Learn before you leap. Never invest in something you don't understand. Start small, test with small amounts before committing big. Diversify, spread risk across different income streams and investments. Have a backup plan, prepare for what could go wrong before it happens. Key takeaway. Risk isn't the enemy, ignorance is. When you understand and manage risk, it becomes the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Chapter 8 is about building your money machine. Imagine a machine that deposits money into your account every month. No clocking in, no boss, no endless grind, just steady, predictable income. That's not fantasy, it's exactly what wealthy people build, and they call it passive income. Wealth Builder explained it like this. Your goal isn't just to earn money, your goal is to create systems that earn money for you. The 3 types of money machines. There are many ways to build them, but most fall into 3 categories. Business systems, companies that can run without you doing all the work. Think franchises, online stores, or services with a team in place. Investment systems, assets like rental properties, dividend stocks, or peer-to-peer lending platforms. Intellectual property, books, courses, music, or software you create once but can sell repeatedly. Eli's blueprint. Eli started with a small online store selling digital templates. It made a little money, not much at first. But he reinvested profits into better designs, marketing, and eventually into rental real estate. By year 5, his income from rentals and his online store exceeded what most people make from a full-time job. He was lucky, he was building machines one piece at a time. Why most people don't build them? Mark always said he didn't have time to start something outside his job. Ironically, that's exactly why he needed a money machine to buy back his time. Most people never start because they think they need huge amounts of money up front. A brilliant, never-before-seen idea. To quit their job immediately. None of that's true. Many money machines start small, simple, and part-time. Steps to build your first machine. Choose your lane: business, investing, or creative product. Start tiny, test your idea with minimal risk. Automate and outsource, reduce your direct involvement over time. Reinvest profits, grow the machine instead of cashing out too soon. Key takeaway. Financial freedom comes when your machines make more than your monthly expenses. Build one, then another, until work becomes optional. In Chapter 9, we learn the power of financial leverage. Wealth Builder once told me, leverage is how the wealthy seem to do less, but achieve more. It's not about working harder, it's about using tools, systems, and other people's resources to multiply your results. What is leverage? In finance, leverage means using something beyond your own effort or money to get a bigger outcome. There are 3 main types. Financial leverage, using other people's money, loans, investors to grow faster. Time leverage, using other people's time, employees, freelancers, so you're not doing everything yourself. Knowledge leverage, using other people's experience so you avoid mistakes and shortcuts to success. How leverage works. Eli wanted to buy a small apartment complex worth $1 million. He didn't have $1 million. But he had $200,000 saved, a strong credit history, and a business plan. A bank financed the rest. Within a few years, the rents covered the loan and the property had increased in value. Eli's $200K had now turned into over $500K in equity without him doing all the heavy lifting. That's leverage in action. The wrong way to use leverage. Mark also used leverage, but the bad kind. He took out credit cards to buy luxury items that lost value the moment he swiped them. Debt for liabilities drains you, debt for assets can free you. Leverage in everyday life. You don't have to be a millionaire to use leverage. Hire a virtual assistant to handle repetitive tasks. Use software to automate marketing or bookkeeping. Partner with someone who has skills you lack instead of learning them from scratch. Key takeaway. Leverage lets you achieve in 5 years what would take most people 20. The trick is to apply it to assets, not liabilities. Now in Chapter 10 we see the mindset of the wealthy. If you stripped away every dollar from a truly wealthy person, most would rebuild their fortune in a few years. It's not luck, it's not even just skill. It's mindset. Wealth Builder told me, your outer world of money will always match your inner world of beliefs. Scarcity versus abundance thinking. Scarcity thinking says, If someone wins, someone else must lose. Opportunities are rare. I can't risk what I have. Abundance thinking says, opportunities are everywhere. Money is a tool, not a treasure. I can create more value and more income. The wealthy operate from abundance. They see challenges as puzzles to solve, not walls to stop them. Playing the long game. Mark lived paycheck to paycheck, even when his income rose. Why? He thought in months, not decades. Eli, on the other hand, invested in things that might not pay off for years. He planted trees knowing they would shade him later. Wealth requires patience, and patience comes from trusting your plan. Learning over earning. Wealthy people obsess over growth, personal growth. They read, network, take courses, and seek mentors constantly. If you gave them a choice between $10,000 now or a skill worth $10,000 every month, they'd pick the skill. Embracing calculated risk. The rich don't avoid risk, they manage it. They ask, what's the worst-case scenario? How can I reduce the downside? What steps give me the best odds? They know the riskiest thing of all is staying still while the world changes. Key takeaway. The wealthy think bigger, longer, and bolder than most. Adopt their mindset and wealth becomes a byproduct of who you are, not just what you do. Now the final chapter, your new financial story. You've now walked the full path from realizing school-left gaps to building your own money education to mastering the mindset and tools of the wealthy. But the real story hasn't been about money. It's been about you. You've seen how two people, given the same start, can take completely different paths. You've learned that a safe job isn't always safe. That assets feed you while liabilities drain you. That leverage, patience, and the right mindset can take you further than sheer effort ever could. And now the next chapter is yours to write. Your choice. Every night you get the same choice. Stay in the comfortable patterns you've always known. Or take small steps toward the financial freedom you now understand is possible. The good news. You don't have to make the leap all at once. Wealth is built like a bridge, one solid plank at a time. While you sleep. Here's the magic. As you sleep tonight, your mind will hold onto these ideas. They will shape the way you see money, the way you notice opportunities, and the way you act. Without even realizing it, you'll begin to think like the wealthy and then live like them. Key takeaway. The richest thing you own is your mindset. Protect it, feed it, grow it, the rest will follow. And so, as you drift deeper into rest, remember, you now hold the pen to your own financial story, write it boldly, live it freely, and sleep tonight knowing that your future is already changing. And so, the lesson of Rich Dad Poor Dad becomes clear. Now I want to say something very, very important for only you. Two voices, two mindsets, two paths. One path, the safe job, the steady paycheck, the predictable life. The other, a path of building assets, creating freedom, and letting money work for you. We've seen Mark working harder each year, yet feeling the weight of debt and dependence. We've seen Eli quietly building his income streams until work became optional. The choice is never about how smart you are. It's about how you think. Wealth begins in the mind, long before it shows in the bank. So tonight as you rest, let your thoughts wander. Imagine the life you could create if you started making just one small, smart decision each day. See yourself free from the clock, free from the stress, free to live fully. Because in the end, money isn't the goal. Freedom is. And with that, let your mind drift. You've learned something valuable tonight. Let it sink in. Let it grow. And let it carry you into your dreams. Tonight, you've not only fed your mind, you've planted seeds in your future. Every story, every idea you've heard will continue to work quietly inside you, shaping the way you see opportunities, the way you make choices, the way you live. There is nothing more to do right now. No action to take. Just allow your mind to rest, knowing it has already begun the work. With each breath, feel lighter. With each exhale, let go of any tension. And with each heartbeat, feel yourself moving closer to the life you've imagined. You are safe. You are capable. And you are on your way. This is Mr. Bedtime Reader. The place where you grow richer in knowledge, even in your dreams. Sleep well, dream big, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Good night, buddies. I am always with you.